Hello, this is Chuck Delatorante with Family Private Banking Partners. I'm one of the partners here. Today we're going to cover how to think and act like the Rothschilds. I call this Inside the House of Rothschild. How did they avoid losing money in the market, and how did they maintain and pass along so much wealth over so many years? We're going to talk about that today, and I think you'll get a lot of it. Well, Mayor Rothschild was a banker. And he was born in the early 1800s, and by the time it was all done with his life before he died, he set up his own banking process. And using the mind of the banker, he set in place a three-part family banking system. I call it the Rothschilds rules of banking and private family banking. Rule number one was the family's wealth had to be kept in a family bank. It had to be kept together. It's a key. Rule number two was the family could not take out a loan from the family bank without paying it back. So they could take a loan, but they had to pay it back, and they had to pay it back with some interest so that the wealth account grew. So they had various investments, and based on those investments and use of the money, they had rule number three, which was they had to meet once a year, sort of a lessons learned and a little bit of an accountability session to find out how they were all doing and what was the family money going to. Well, the result of that was the Rothschild fortune today is said to be well over $100 trillion. I've heard reports much higher, but we'll use that. That's enough. I think 100 trillion is uncountable, unthinkable for most people. Anyway, it's countable, but unthinkable. But you can apply these same concepts as the Rothschilds did. How do we do it? Well, first of all, you do it by continuous behavior like they did, by having a set of rules, by integrating your family banking system. We're going to talk about how to create your own banking system and eventually recapture interest and payments you're making to others into your family bank and pass on wealth to future generations. Here's a three-step process for it. Step number one, understand the power of uninterrupted compound interest. Uninterrupted compound interest. Well, compound interest, that's making interest on your interest, and accumulating interest on your interest. Einstein said it was the most powerful force in the world, most powerful force in the universe. It was said that he said that at one point. I don't know if we can find that quote on quotable searches, but he was a pretty smart guy and he knew what he was talking about. What you're going to do with this uninterrupted compound interest is guarantee in your family and beyond your family and future generations a wealth curve that is accelerated cash performance of asset performance for the money that you put in and out of your family bank. And what we do is we create the family bank as a place to hold money for investments like the Rothschilds and other businesses and other, it could be real estate, it could be rental real estate, commercial real estate, business ventures, and other types of high power investments. But we don't just jump on the next new thing. So we keep the money in the family bank and earn compounding. And I'll show you how we can borrow against that collateral and as if it were a piece of property or your own banking cash, which it is. It's really cash, not an asset like a piece of real estate. It is an asset, but a different asset type. And we'll talk about that. So you start your own wealth curve. That's step two, by starting your family banking system. The key to your family banking system is a high cash value, permanent or whole life insurance policy taken out with a mutual insurance company. And I'm a licensed life insurance agent, and we can do this in most any state. Several states have extra asset protection for bankruptcy or lawsuits and so forth that are at hand. I know I reside in the state of Texas, a very good state to have these, but you can have it in most any state in different capacities. Your family banking system will use the same financial instrument as that used by the banks, where the banks today place their cash. You'll find bank-owned life insurance, we call BOLI, B-O-L-I, bank-owned life insurance, is a very high volume product out there, and that's where they store cash for executives. They buy policy on key executives throughout the country, and you can do the research on us and find that information on the internet very readily. So you'll use permanent life insurance just like the banks do, also known as whole life, and it's a safe, liquid way to hold and use cash or capital in your family bank. How well your family banking system will compare to other alternatives. Let's look at this chart. We all know about programs like IRAs and 401ks, and we can have a brokerage investment account. How are you doing on that with the various market up and downs, the crashes over the years, a crash in the 80s and 2000 and 2008 through 10, and now the coronavirus crash. It's just an ongoing up and down. So how do you stabilize that? You invest in your home. Is it liquid? Is it safe? Is it protected? Not necessarily. CDs, perhaps. Is it risk-free? Annuities, maybe. Real estate, not really. And for our family private bank in the right-hand column, they're all yeses. Risk, guarantees, penalty-free, tax protected, lawsuit protected, very liquid and in your control. Very key point to the family bank. And tax-free and tax-deferred, tax-deductible payments if you put it in certain ways into a business, and or make loans to your business, as well wealth transfers between the generations and passing on to your beneficiaries. I am a licensed life insurance agent, and I will invest in you so you can invest in your family bank, and we'll together create an optimum whole life insurance policy so you can use that for your advantage for liquidity, safety, guaranteed growth. Your guaranteed growth in these policies, we'll take a look at the effect of that here in a moment. You're protected from taxes, income taxes, and protected from lawsuits. Here's just an example of paying $5,000 annually and how much the cash accumulates versus other types of investments. Of course, if you spend the cash on term insurance, you get nothing back other than the protection, but you don't get any gain on your money. If you use a typical whole life policy in the blue, you have some gain, but it's further out. With our policies, right away, even in the first couple of years, you start gaining cash value, and you start compounding the interest on your interest. Private family banking is about control. You're in control of your own banking system, and you can recapture interest that you've been paying to someone or opportunity costs of just paying cash for things. This is a typical example. The average American is paying payments on things and putting a little bit into savings. We're trying to reverse this, put a lot into savings eventually as we get this set up and getting rid of the interest and capturing that interest. The average American spends about 35.5% on interest and interest type payments, including opportunity costs, by even paying cash for items when you could be compounding interest on that cash. Capture the interest you've been paying to others. Turn this around. Increase, you see the green bar. Savings is going up manyfold. And you're now the banker, and you're going to pay premiums into your money pool inside the insurance company in that whole life permanent life insurance policy. You can then pay out of that pool of money loans to yourself to make repayments of high interest credit cards, buy assets like cars, and you can even make a loan to your business and have the business pay you back so you can pay the insurance company back, and the business can buy assets and take interest deduction on those loan payments. Pay off your mortgage faster and more highly leverage and capture the interest back to yourself. Private family banking, how would you change your savings if you could recapture the money you've been throwing away on interest that never comes back? Begin recapturing it both and stack up this cash flow in one column and put it to your benefit. Here's just an example. This is the typical family situation where you save a little and go in the whole lot. Here's what we do. We inverse that curve. We invert the curve in private family banking and capture all that cash flow. And our benefits are, you have a death benefit, but we're really capitalizing and leveraging or taking advantage of the living benefit, which is that cash value and a permanent, high cash value, permanent whole life insurance policy with a mutual insurance company. You can use it as for major medical expenses or disability protection. There's different riders you can get. You have guaranteed access as an emergency fund. You've heard that term around with all the debt-free teachers out there. You could replace your 529 college plan, retirement plan. You could even move money instead of into 401ks or IRAs into this as an alternative. We can show you in analysis how that's better over the longer run. And you have access to the money, and you don't have to pay the tax up front because tax rates can change. It could be a scary thing years out as Social Security decays, and we experience these huge losses in staying in the market. in the stock market. It's tax protected growth comparable to a Roth, and it's also an estate planning tool. Of course, you do pay the premiums in post-tax or after tax. The founder of this concept, R. Nelson Nash, said everyone should be in two businesses. One they do for a living, even if you're working for somebody else, and the banking business. We're going to help you set up your own banking business. Again, my name's Chuck Delatorante. I hope you've enjoyed this short video, that it was understandable and gets you to motivate yourself to think differently, get out of the box, change your paradigm. Give me a call. Go out to my website there, privatefamilybanking.com/Chuck-Delatorante. Call me. Put my number out there on the YouTube's probably going to get me a lot of bad calls or bogus calls, but I'll talk to you. 830-743-9021. Reach me at email, familybankingnow@gmail.com. Our initial visit is no charge, and it'll last about an hour, and we'll get you rolling. Thank you very much.